The stars look different today. Captain Li Huan stood on the bridge of the Harmony's edge, watching the endless darkness through the main window. His ship had traveled farther from Earth than any human vessel before. After 6 months in deep space, they were finally reaching the edge of what humans called the unknown. "Captain," called out Lieutenant Kong Su from his station, "I'm getting something strange on the sensors." Li Huan walked over to look at the screen. 3 large objects were moving toward them. They were bigger than anything humans had ever built. Much bigger. "Are those ships?" asked Commander Park Yuna. She was the ship's expert on alien life. For years she had dreamed of this moment. Now it was really happening. "They have to be," said Engineer Kim Dae. He was checking his instruments. "But they're huge. Each one is at least 10 times bigger than our ship." The alien ships came closer. They moved in a perfect line, like they were showing off their power. The lead ship was black and silver, with strange lights moving along its sides. It looked like a floating city. "Incoming message," said the communications officer. It's in our language." Li Huan felt his heart beat faster. "Put it on." Screen. The main window changed to show a creature unlike anything they had ever seen. It had pale blue skin and 4 eyes arranged in a square pattern on its face. When it spoke, its voice was deep and cold. "Small vessel of the species called humans," the alien said. "I am Admiral Vextel of the Vorthic Empire. You will stop your ship and prepare to be boarded." Li Huan stepped forward. "This is Captain Li Huan of the Earthship Harmony's Edge. We come in peace. We're explorers, not enemies." The alien made a sound that might have been laughter. "Peace? You are children playing with toys in space? We know all about your little planet. We have watched you for many years." Park Yuna felt a chill run down her back. "You've been watching us?" "Of course," said Vextel. "We watch all primitive species. You are what we call Category 7, emerging primitives. You have just learned to leave your homeworld. Very impressive for such young creatures." Kim Dae was working quietly at his station, recording everything. The alien's words made him angry, but he kept his face calm. These aliens thought humans were nothing special. "We represent the Galactic Council," Vextel continued. "We keep peace in this part of space. Lucky for you, we are kind to new species. We will give you protection." "Protection from what?" asked Li Huan. "From yourselves mostly," Vextel said. "Young species always make mistakes. They build weapons they cannot control. They fight wars that destroy their worlds. We prevent such problems." Dr. Cho Mina was the ship's scientist. She had been quiet, but now she spoke up. "What kind of protection are you talking about?" Vextel's 4 eyes focused on her. "Simple. You give us your weapons, you follow our rules. We guide your technology development. In return, we keep you safe." The bridge was silent for a moment. Li Huan looked at his crew. They all had the same expression. This didn't sound like protection. It sounded like slavery. "And if we refuse?" Li Huan asked. "Why would you refuse?" Vextel seemed surprised. "We offer you the wisdom of species that have traveled the stars for thousands of years. Your technology is centuries behind ours. Look at your ship." The alien gestured, and suddenly the Harmony's Edge appeared on their screen next to one of the alien vessels. The human ship looked like a toy next to the massive alien craft. "Your weapons are chemical rockets and metal bullets," Vextel said. "We have energy beams that can destroy planets. Your computers are electronic circuits. Ours think with quantum minds. You should be grateful we are willing to help you." Park Yuna was studying the alien through the screen. Something about his attitude bothered her. He wasn't just confident. He was bored, like he had done this many times before. "How many species have you helped?" she asked. 47 in this sector alone," Vextel said proudly. "All are now peaceful and productive members of our galactic community." Kim Dae was still recording. He noticed something interesting. The alien ship's design was very old-fashioned. It was big and powerful, but the technology looked like it hadn't changed in a long time. "May we have some time to discuss this?" Li Huan asked Vextel's eyes narrowed. There's nothing to discuss. This is how things work in civilized space. You are primitives, we are advanced, you obey. We protect, very simple. Even so, Li Huan said carefully, we would like to talk among ourselves first. The alien was quiet for a long moment, then he nodded. Very well. You have one of your Earth hours? Then you will give us your answer. Choose wisely, humans. This offer will not come again. The screen went dark, the bridge was silent, everyone looked at Li Huan. Well, he said quietly, that was interesting. Interesting? Kang Su laughed. But it wasn't a happy sound. They want to turn us into pets. They think we're stupid, Kim Dae said. Did you see their ship design? It's all about size and power. No elegance, no efficiency, Dr. Chomena was thinking hard. Something doesn't add up. If they've been watching us for years, they should know more about our capabilities. What do you mean? Asked Park Yuna. They think our technology is primitive, Chomena said, but they're measuring us by their standards. What if our technology took a different path? Kim Dae understood what she meant. They build big ships with powerful weapons. We build small, efficient ships with smart systems. They think bigger is better. But is it? Asked Li Huan. Kim Dae smiled for the first time since the aliens arrived. Captain, I've been scanning their ships. They're impressive, but they're also predictable. Everything follows the same patterns. Big engines, big weapons, big shields. That's bad because it means they think in straight lines, Park Yuna said. She was beginning to understand. They see a problem, they throw more power at it. They don't look for creative solutions. Li Huan nodded slowly. So when they look at us, they see small ships and think we're weak. They don't see that our ships are small because they're efficient, Kim Dae said. They don't see that our weapons are precise instead of powerful. They don't see that our computers are smart instead of big. Dr. Chomena was getting excited. They've made an assumption. They think all technology develops the same way theirs did. But human technology is different. We innovate. We adapt. We find new ways to solve old problems. The question is, Li Huan said, what do we do about it? Kang Su was checking his tactical displays. Their ships are in attack formation. They're not taking any chances. They don't think they need to, Park Yuna said. To them, we're just another primitive species that will roll over and accept their protection. Li Huan made his decision. Send a message to Earth, full report on what's happening here, and prepare a response for Admiral Vextal. What kind of response? Asked Kim Dae. Li Huan smiled. It wasn't a friendly smile. We're going to politely decline their generous offer. Sir, Kang Su said carefully, they have 3 massive warships. We have 1 exploration vessel. True, Li Huan said, but they don't really know what our 1 ship can do, and that might be our biggest advantage. The hour was almost up. Admiral Vextal would want his answer soon. Li Huan looked at his crew. They were scared, but they were also determined. Humans had not come this far in space to become someone's pets. The aliens thought they knew everything about humans. They thought wrong. 3 days later, Captain Li Huan stood in a room that was larger than his entire ship. The walls were made of some kind of glowing crystal that changed colors as he moved. Above his head, a ceiling stretched so high he could barely see it. Welcome to Council Station Nexus Prime, said the tall, thin alien beside him. This was Counselor Thexmara of the Zephyrian species. Her skin was silver and smooth like metal, and when she walked, she made no sound at all. Commander Park Yuna looked around in amazement. Hundreds of different aliens moved through the massive hall. Some flew through the air on wings. Others crawled along the walls like giant spiders. A few looked almost human, but with strange colors or extra arms. Your species has much to learn, Thexmara said. Her voice sounded like wind through metal pipes. This station is over 10,000 years old. It was built when your species was still learning to make fire. Lieutenant Kang Su walked quietly behind the group. He was supposed to be impressed, but instead he was studying everything. The security guards carried weapons that hummed with energy. Their armor looked strong but heavy. Everything here was built for show, not for fighting. "How many species belong to the Council?" asked Dr. Chomina. 12 major species rule the galaxy, Vixmara said proudly. "Together we keep peace among thousands of smaller species. It is a great responsibility." They entered another hall that was even bigger than the first. At the far end, 12 massive chairs sat in a circle. Each chair was different, built for a different type of alien. Some were tall and narrow. Others were wide and low. One was filled with water for a species that breathed liquid instead of air. "The Council of 12, Vixmara said. "They will decide your species' future." Engineer Kim Dae was looking at the technology around them. The aliens had impressive displays and floating screens everywhere, but something bothered him. It looked the same. Every piece of technology followed the same basic design. There was no creativity, no innovation. "Take your places," Vixmara said, pointing to a small area in front of the 12 chairs. "Remember, you are here by special permission. Most primitive species never see this chamber." Li Huan and his team stood in the center of the circle. The 12 chairs began to fill with the strangest creatures they had ever seen. Admiral Vextol was there, representing the Vorthak. His 4 eyes stared at the humans with boredom. A creature that looked like a living tree took another seat. Its voice sounded like creaking wood when it spoke. "I am Rootsinger Velmuth of the Sylvani. We have grown in the deep forests of space for 50,000 years. Another alien looked like it was made of living rock. Steam came from cracks in its stone skin. "Molten heart Krasder of the Perothians," it rumbled. "We shape planets with our bare hands." One by one, the council members introduced themselves. Each one was ancient. Each one had ruled their part of space for thousands of years. They all looked at the humans like adults looking at small children. "Now," said Vexmara, "we will hear the humans speak. Tell us why you think your species deserves special treatment." Li Huan stepped forward. "We don't want special treatment. We want to be equals." Several of the council members made sounds that might have been laughter. The rock creature, Krasder, spoke first. "Equals? Little soft skin, we were building starships when your world was covered in ice? Your technology is interesting for primitives," said another council member. "This one looked like a giant insect with crystal wings, but it is still primitive. Your fastest ships move slower than our cargo vessels." Dr. Chomina couldn't stay quiet anymore. "Speed isn't everything. Our ships may be slower, but they're more efficient. They use less energy and need fewer repairs." The insect alien clicked its mandibles. "Efficiency is what weak species care about when they cannot build real power." Park Yuna was studying the council members carefully. Each species had become very good at one thing. The rock aliens were strong. The tree aliens were patient. The insect aliens were fast. But none of them seemed to be good at many different things. "We have a proposal for your species," Vexmara said. "You will become a protected species under council law. You will give us all your weapons and military ships. In return, we will give you technology that is actually useful." "What kind of technology?" asked Kim Dae. Admiral Vextol activated a holographic display. It showed images of alien technology. "Food synthesizers that can feed your entire population? Medical devices that can heal any injury? Energy generators that will power your cities for centuries." The images were impressive, but Kim Dae noticed something important. All of this technology was old, very old. The designs hadn't changed in thousands of years. "This technology is generous," Li Huan said carefully. "But what do you want in return?" "Simple," said Vexmara. "You follow our laws. You ask permission before you build new technology. You let us guide your development. You never build weapons without our approval. And if we refuse?" asked Kang Su. The chamber became very quiet. All 12 council members stared at the humans. "Why would you refuse?" asked the tree alien Velmuth. "We offer you the wisdom of ages. We offer you peace and prosperity. Because, Liu Huan said slowly, we didn't come to space to become pets. The rock alien Krasder stood up from his chair. Steam poured from his body as his anger grew. Pets? We offer you partnership. Partnership? Park Yuna stepped forward. You want us to give up our weapons, follow your laws, and ask permission for everything. That's not partnership. That's surrender. You speak of things you do not understand, said the insect alien. We have seen thousands of species like yours. They all think they are special. They all think they can do better than the Council. What happened to them? Asked Dr. Chomina. They learned to accept wisdom, Vexmara said. Or they learned the hard way that the galaxy is not safe for weak species. Kang Su was still watching the security systems. The guards around the chamber carried energy weapons, but they were overconfident. They stood in predictable positions. Their weapons were powerful, but slow to aim. We need time to discuss this, Li Huan said. No, Admiral Vextal said firmly. You will decide now. Accept our protection, or face the consequences of your foolishness. Kim Dae had been quiet, but now he spoke up. Can you show us more of your technology? We want to understand what you're offering. Several council members seemed pleased by this. They thought the humans were finally being sensible. Of course, said Dexmara. She activated more displays. Ships the size of cities appeared in the air above them. Weapons that could destroy planets. Shields that could protect entire star systems. Impressive, Kim Dae said, and it was impressive. But it was also exactly what he had expected. Everything was big, powerful, and simple. There was no subtlety, no cleverness. Just brute force on a massive scale. Dr. Chomina was thinking the same thing. These aliens had mastered power, but they had forgotten how to innovate. Their technology was thousands of years old because they had stopped trying to improve it. Your weapons are very large, she said, but are they accurate? The insect alien buzzed with annoyance. Accuracy is not important when you have enough power to destroy anything. And your ships are very strong, Park Yuna added. But can they adapt to new situations? Why would they need to adapt? Asked Velmuth. We have perfected our designs over millennia. Li Wan looked at his team. They were all thinking the same thing. These aliens were powerful, but they were also stuck in the past. They had become so confident in their strength that they had stopped learning. We appreciate your offer, Li Huan said finally. But we must decline, the chamber erupted in noise. Several council members stood up in anger. Others made sounds of disbelief. Impossible, roared Krasder. No primitive species has ever refused council protection. You are making a terrible mistake, Dexmara said. Her silver skin had turned dark with anger. The galaxy is full of dangers you cannot imagine, perhaps, Liu Huan said calmly. But we would rather face those dangers as free people than live safely as slaves. Admiral Vextal's 4 eyes blazed with fury. Very well, humans, you have chosen your path. We will show you what happens to species that reject the Council's wisdom. Is that a threat? Asked Kang Su. It is a promise, Vextal said coldly. Your colonies will be our first lesson to you. As the humans were escorted from the chamber, Kim Dae smiled quietly to himself. The aliens thought they knew everything about human capabilities. They were about to learn how wrong they were. Director Shinwoo stood in the command center deep beneath the mountains of Korea. Around him, dozens of screens showed human colonies across the solar system. Mars, Europa, Titan, and the asteroid belt mining stations. All of them were busy with normal life, but that was about to change. How long do we have? Asked Dr. Beek Jin. She had just arrived from the Titan research facility. Her transport ship was still cooling down on the landing pad outside. Captain Lee's message was clear, Shinwoo said. The aliens are coming to teach us a lesson. They want to show us what happens when primitive species refuse their protection. Commander Yun Hai was studying tactical displays. She commanded the Colonial Defense Forces, but most people thought that was just a fancy name for security guards. They were wrong. Which colony will they hit first? She asked. Mars, said Shinwoo. It's our biggest colony. Hitting it will send a message to everyone else. Dr. Beek Jin opened her briefcase and pulled out a small device. It looked like a simple metal cube, but when she activated it, the air around it began to shimmer. "What is that?" asked Yun Hai. "Quantum field manipulator," Beek Jin said. "We've been working on it for 15 years. The aliens think our technology is primitive because they've only seen our commercial ships and basic equipment." Xin Wu smiled. "They never detected our real research facilities. They don't know about the projects we keep hidden." On Titan, the largest moon of Saturn, Dr. Oh Kyung was working in a laboratory that didn't officially exist. The chamber was filled with strange equipment that hummed with barely contained energy. In the center, a chair sat connected to dozens of cables and sensors. "Are you sure about this?" asked his assistant engineer Nam Su. "The aliens think in straight lines," Oh Kyung said. "Each of their species is good at one thing. The rock aliens are strong. The insect aliens are fast. But humans are different." He pointed to brain scans on the wall. "Human minds can connect ideas that seem unrelated. We can solve problems by thinking sideways instead of straight ahead. Our neural patterns are more complex than any alien species we've encountered." Namsu looked at the consciousness transfer device. "And this will help us how?" "Information warfare," Oh Kyung said. "While they're focusing on big ships and powerful weapons, we'll be inside their systems, changing their data, confusing their sensors. They won't know what's real and what isn't." Back on Earth, scientist Dr. Cho Mina was in her laboratory, working on something the aliens had never seen before. Her research into quantum mechanics had taken a very different path from the aliens' technology. "Their shields work by absorbing energy," she explained to her team. "They make the shields bigger and stronger to handle more powerful attacks." "But what if we don't attack the shields directly?" She activated a small device. On the table in front of her, a metal plate began to vibrate. Then it started to dissolve. "Quantum disruption," she said. "Instead of hitting their shields with energy, we change the basic structure of matter itself. Their shields can't protect against something that attacks reality at the smallest level." Her assistant, Dr. Parquet, watched in amazement as the metal plate completely disappeared. "The aliens have never seen anything like this. They've never needed to," Cho Mina said. "When you have planet-destroying weapons, you don't think about subtle approaches. But sometimes the smallest key opens the biggest door." On Mars, Governor Lee Min was receiving reports from across the colony. 3 million people lived in the underground cities and surface domes. They thought they were safe because Mars had good defenses. They had no idea how good those defenses really were. "Sir," said his aide, "we're getting reports that alien ships are moving toward our system." Lee Min nodded. "Send the activation codes to all defense stations. And tell the people this is just a drill." What the people didn't know was that the mining equipment scattered across Mars was actually something much more dangerous. The giant excavators that carved tunnels through the rock were also mobile weapons platforms. The atmosphere processors that made the air breathable could be turned into area denial systems. Even the farming domes had hidden purposes. Engineer Kim Sol was working in the asteroid belt, where humans mined precious metals from floating rocks. His job was supposed to be managing the automated mining ships. But those ships had some very special modifications. "How many can we deploy?" asked his supervisor over the communication system. Kim Sol looked at his screens. Hundreds of small mining ships were scattered throughout the asteroid field. Each one looked harmless, just a simple robot designed to break up rocks and collect metals, all of them, he said. "The aliens will see a bunch of primitive mining equipment right up until the moment those mining lasers start cutting through their hull armor." The beauty of it was that the aliens would never suspect. They had dismissed human technology as primitive. They saw mining ships and thought weak industrial equipment. They didn't see weapons that could slice through asteroid rock, weapons that could work together in coordinated swarms. In the Europa Research Station, Dr. Yun Su was working on perhaps the most important project of all. Europa was covered in ice, but beneath that ice was an ocean larger than all of Earth's oceans combined, and in that ocean, humans had built something amazing. The adaptive AI network is ready, she reported to Earth. The aliens have never encountered anything like it. The network was spread throughout the solar system, hidden in communication satellites, mining equipment, and research stations. Each part of the network could learn and adapt on its own. But when they worked together, they became something greater than the sum of their parts. Their computers are powerful but predictable, Yun-Su explained. Ours are weaker individually, but they can evolve, adapt, and surprise. While they're trying to overpower our systems will be learning how to outsmart theirs. Buck. In the command center on Earth, Director Shin Woo was coordinating with all the hidden projects. On his screens, he could see the real strength of human civilization. Not the commercial ships and public facilities the aliens had observed, but the secret research, the hidden weapons, and the adaptive technologies that humanity had developed. The aliens made a mistake, he said to his staff. They watched us for years, but they only saw what we wanted them to see. Commander Yun-Hai was reviewing the defense plans. They expect us to meet them in open battle, ship against ship, weapon against weapon. Instead, asked Dr. Beek-Jin. Instead, we'll fight them in ways they've never experienced, Yun-Hai said. Their technology is thousands of years old, perfected and unchanging. Ours is constantly evolving. Shin Woo received a message from Captain Li Huan, who was still with the alien fleet. The message was short. They're coming. 3 days, Shin Woo announced to the room. That's how long we have to finish preparations. Dr. Oh Kyung spoke from Titan through the communication system. The consciousness transfer network is online. We can coordinate human responses across the entire solar system in real time, Dr. Cho Mena reported from her laboratory. Quantum disruption weapons are ready for deployment. Their shields won't know what hit them. Engineer Kim Sol checked in. From the asteroid belt, mining swarm is in position. They'll think they're attacking a bunch of helpless industrial equipment. One by one, all the hidden projects reported ready. The aliens were about to discover that they had completely misunderstood human capabilities. The Council thinks we're Category 7 primitives, Shin Woo said. They think we're children playing with simple toys. Commander Yun-Hai smiled. It was not a kind smile. They're about to learn that human children can be very dangerous when someone threatens their family. As the alien fleet approached the solar system, humanity prepared to show them what real innovation looked like. The aliens had spent thousands of years perfecting their technology. Humans had spent decades learning to think differently. Soon, the galaxy would learn which approach was more effective. The aliens thought they knew what humans were capable of. They were about to discover how wrong they could be. Admiral Vextal stood on the bridge of his flagship, the Eternal Dominance. Through the massive viewing window, he could see the red planet Mars growing larger. Behind him, 2 other Council warships followed in perfect formation. Such a small world, he said to his tactical officer. 3 million humans live there. After today, they will understand the price of defying the Council. His 4 eyes studied the planet's defenses. A few orbital stations. Some patrol ships. Mining equipment scattered around the planet and in the nearby asteroid belt. Everything looked exactly as primitive as he had expected. Begin the demonstration, he ordered. On Mars, Admiral Jang Ho watched the alien ships approach on his command. Screens. He was officially the head of colonial security, but his real job was much more important. Around him, officers were working at stations that looked like simple administrative computers. They weren't. Enemy ships entering Mars orbit, reported Captain Lim Yu. Her squadron of patrol ships was already moving into position. They're maintaining standard Council formation. Of course they are, Jang Ho said calmly. They've used the same tactics. For thousands of years, why change something that always works? The alien flagship began to broadcast a message to Mars. Admiral Vextal's face appeared on every screen in the colony. People of Mars, he announced, your leaders have foolishly rejected Council protection. We will now demonstrate why this Was a mistake. Surrender immediately, and your suffering will be brief. Governor Li Min, speaking from the main colony, responded. This is Governor Li Min of Mars Colony. We are peaceful civilians. We have no military forces here, Vextel laughed. Your lies will not save you. We know you have defensive weapons. We will destroy them first, then your cities. The council ships began their attack. Energy beams lanced down from space, targeting what they thought were weapons platforms. The beams struck mining stations, communication towers, and industrial facilities. Explosions bloomed across the Martian surface. Direct hits on all targets, reported Vextel's tactical officer. Human defenses are eliminated, but something was wrong. The explosions were too big, too bright, and the debris was moving in strange patterns. Admiral, his sensor operator said, I'm getting unusual readings from the destroyed targets. What kind of readings? The debris ... It's not debris. It's still moving with purpose. Captain Lin Yu was smiling as she watched her screens. The aliens had just done exactly what humans wanted them to do. They had attacked the weapons platforms that were actually camouflage launch systems. Each explosion had released dozens of small objects that looked like harmless debris. Mining drones deployed, she reported to Admiral Zhang Ho. Beginning swarm protocol. The debris pieces suddenly came alive. They were mining drones designed to work together to break apart asteroids. But asteroids and alien ships were both just chunks of metal and ceramic. The drones swarmed toward the council ships like angry insects. What are those? Vextel demanded, as his screens filled with small moving objects. Unknown contacts, his tactical officer said. They appear to be some kind of automated mining equipment. Mining equipment? Destroy them. The council ships opened fire with their point defense systems. Energy beams swept through space, destroying dozens of the small drones. But there were hundreds of them, and they moved in unpredictable patterns. They're not flying in formation, the tactical officer said. Each one is moving independently. It's impossible to target them all. The first drones reached the flagship. Their mining lasers, designed to cut through solid rock, began slicing into the ship's armor. The alien shields were designed to stop large energy weapons, not dozens of small precision tools. Hull breach on Deck 7, someone shouted. How? Vextel roared. Those are mining tools. Dr. Chomino was working from her laboratory on Earth, but her quantum disruption devices were already in position throughout the solar system. Hidden inside communication satellites and monitoring stations, they had been waiting for this moment. Activating quantum field generators, she announced to the command center around the alien ships. Reality began to behave strangely. The quantum disruption field made the basic structure of matter unstable. The aliens' shields, which worked by absorbing and redirecting energy, suddenly found they had nothing solid to protect. Shield generators failing, Vextel's engineer reported. The energy fields are becoming unstable, impossible. Reinforce the shields. We're trying, but the disruption is affecting the shield generators themselves. The quantum fields are interfering with our technology. Admiral Zhang Ho watched as the alien ships began to suffer system failures across their entire fleet. Phase 2, he ordered. Captain Lim Yu's squadron dropped their disguises. The small patrol ships suddenly revealed hidden weapons systems and advanced maneuvering drives. They moved like dancers, spinning and weaving around the massive alien vessels. Target their weapon systems, Lim Yu ordered her pilots. Precision strikes only. The human ships fired not with massive energy beams, but with smart missiles that changed course during flight. The aliens tried to track them with their targeting systems, but the missiles used adaptive guidance. Each one learned from the last. One's mistakes. Our point defense can't keep up, Vextel's weapons officer reported. Their missiles are adapting to our countermeasures faster than we can change them. On Europa, Dr. Yun Su was coordinating the AI network that connected all human forces. The network was learning from every second of the battle, sharing information instantly across the solar system. Alien tactical patterns logged and analyzed, she reported. sending updated strategies to all units. The network had already figured out how the aliens thought. Their formations were rigid, their tactics were predictable. Their technology was powerful but inflexible. In the asteroid belt, Engineer Kim Sol was commanding a swarm of mining ships that the aliens had completely ignored. To them, the mining equipment was just harmless industrial machinery. Mining swarm, prepare for asteroid impact simulation. He ordered. The mining ships suddenly accelerated toward the alien fleet. They moved like they were approaching an asteroid cluster, ready to break it apart for valuable metals, which Kim Sol thought with grim humor was exactly what they were doing. Admiral Vextol's sensor operator was nearly panicking. The mining ships are on a collision course. Mining ships? They're just industrial equipment. Destroy them. But the aliens' weapons were designed for fighting other warships, not hundreds of small, fast-moving targets. The mining ships swarmed over the Council fleet like ants covering a fallen piece of food. Admiral Vextol watched in horror as his massive ships, which had dominated the galaxy for millennia, were being taken apart by what looked like construction equipment. "This is impossible," he roared. "They're primitives. They have no weapons." "Sir," his communications officer said quietly, perhaps we were wrong about their technology." The flagship shuddered as another hull breach opened. "Emergency." Lights flickered throughout the bridge. "Retreat," Vextol ordered. "All ships, retreat immediately." The 3 Council ships turned to flee, but they moved slowly and predictably. Captain Lim Yu's squadron harassed them all the way to the edge of the solar system, never letting them forget that humans could reach them whenever they wanted. As the alien fleet limped away, Admiral Jang Ho opened a communication channel to Earth. "Mission accomplished," he reported. "The aliens are retreating. Casualties, 0 humans, approximately 60% alien fleet capability destroyed or damaged." Director Shin Woo smiled as he received the report. "Send a message to Captain Liu Huan with the Council fleet. Tell him his people are safe and the galaxy is about to learn something new about humanity." Admiral Vextol sat in his damaged command chair, staring at the tactical reports. Half his fleet was crippled. His shields had failed completely. His weapons had proven useless against human swarm tactics. For the first time in his long life, he began to wonder if the Council really understood anything about war at all. The humans had fought like no species the Council had ever encountered. They used creativity instead of brute force. They adapted during battle instead of following rigid plans. They turned industrial equipment into weapons and made their weaknesses into strengths. As his ship jumped to hyperspace, Vextol realized something that chilled his alien heart. The humans hadn't just defended themselves, they had been playing with him the entire time. The emergency session of the Council of 12 had been going on for 6 hours. In the great chamber of Nexus Prime, the most powerful beings in the galaxy sat in shocked silence as report after report came in. "The Vorthic Third Fleet has been destroyed," announced Counselor Lexmara. Her silver skin had turned dark gray with stress. Admiral Vextol's flagship barely escaped. Rootsinger Velmuth, the ancient tree-like alien, creaked as he shifted in his chair. "How many ships did the humans lose?" "None," Lexmara said quietly. 0 casualties reported. The chamber erupted in angry sounds. Clicking, roaring, and buzzing filled the air as 12 species tried to understand how primitives had defeated one of their most powerful fleets. "Impossible," thundered Molten Heart Krasder. Steam poured from cracks in his rocky skin. "The humans have no real weapons. No shields, no military at all." "That's what we thought," said Admiral Vextol. He had arrived an hour ago, and his report was unlike anything the Council had ever heard. "We were wrong about everything." The insect-like Counselor Zoth clicked her mandibles nervously. "Explain how mining equipment destroyed military vessels." Vextol activated a holographic display. It showed the battle over Mars, but from the alien perspective. To the Council it looked like chaos. Small objects swarming everywhere. Weapons that changed direction in mid-flight. Ships that moved like nothing they had ever seen. They don't fight like any species we know, Vextel explained. We use formation tactics and overwhelming firepower. They use creativity. They turned their industrial equipment into weapons. They used our own tactics against us. You're saying they outthought us? Asked Velmuth. I'm saying they think differently than us, Vextel said. Every species in the council has specialized. We became very good at one type of warfare. The humans seem to be good at everything. Meanwhile, across the galaxy, news of the human victory was spreading like wildfire. On worlds that had been under council protection for thousands of years, people were asking questions they had never dared ask before. On the water world of Aquanus, the dolphin-like cetaceans gathered in their underwater cities. For 3,000 years they had accepted council rule because they were told it was for their own good. If humans can defeat the council fleet, sang Elder Wave Dancer, what does that say about council power? Maybe, sang another cetacean. We don't need their protection after all. Similar conversations were happening throughout the galaxy. The council's authority had always been based on the idea that they were too powerful to resist. But if humans could resist them, maybe others could too. Captain Song Mi was leading a human diplomatic mission to these rebellious worlds. Her ship, the New Dawn, was one of the vessels the aliens had never seen before. It was built after first contact, using everything humans had learned about alien technology. Approaching the Rigel system, reported her pilot. The Avian Republic is requesting permission to meet with us? Song Mi smiled. The avians were bird-like creatures who had been forced to give up flight technology because the council said it was too dangerous for them to have. Now they wanted to talk about getting it back. Grant permission, she said. It's time they learned what humans think about freedom. The meeting took place on a neutral moon. The avian delegate, Skyzor Keftal, was magnificent even without his people's lost technology. His feathers shimmered with natural color-changing abilities. We have heard incredible stories, Keftal said. They say humans defeated a council fleet without losing a single ship. It's true, Song Mi said. But that's not the important part. What is the important part? We didn't fight them to prove we were stronger, Song Mi explained. We fought them to prove we were free, and now we want to help others find their freedom too. Keftal's feathers shifted to colors Song Mi had never seen before. For 3,000 years, the council told us we were too primitive to govern ourselves, too dangerous to have advanced technology, too young to make our own decisions. And now? Now we're wondering if they were the primitive ones all along. Song Mi opened a data pad and showed him technical specifications. These are the plans for an adaptive flight system. It's based on human aerospace technology, but modified for avian biology. With these, your people could fly among the stars again. Keftal stared at the plans. You would share this freely? That's what partners do, Song Mi said. They help each other grow. Back on Council Station, the emergency session was getting worse. Reports were coming in from across the galaxy. Dozens of species were refusing to send their regular tribute payments. Others were demanding the return of confiscated technology. Some were openly declaring independence. This is what happens when we show weakness, snarled Krasder. We should crush the humans completely. Make an example that will terrify the entire galaxy. With what fleet? Asked Exmara bitterly. Half our ships are in repair yards. The other half are spread across the galaxy trying to maintain order. Counselor Vashkri of the reptilian Sorek had been quiet throughout the session. Now she spoke up. Perhaps we should consider that the humans might be right. The chamber fell silent. Even suggesting that humans might be right was close to treason in council terms. Explain, demanded Velmuth. For 50,000 years we have maintained order through fear, Vashkri said carefully. We told ourselves we were bringing peace and stability. But what if we were just holding everyone back? Impossible, Zakth buzzed. We are the most advanced species in the galaxy, are we? Vashkri asked. The humans developed technology we never imagined. They solved problems we never thought to ask. They fought a battle we never learned how to fight. She activated her own display, showing technical analysis of the human victory. Look at their tactics. They use creativity, adaptation, and cooperation. When did any of us last try something truly new? The question hung in the air like a poison gas. When had any of them last innovated? When had they last learned something new instead of just applying old knowledge? The humans have a saying, Vashkri continued. They say that diversity is strength. Each of their colonies developed different solutions to the same problems. Then they shared those solutions with everyone else. Chaos, muttered Krasder. Inefficient chaos, is it? Vashkri challenged. They defeated our fleet using mining equipment and communication satellites. They turned weaknesses into strengths and made their enemies' advantages irrelevant. If that's chaos, maybe we need more chaos. Dr. Ruwan was broadcasting from Earth to the entire galaxy. His message was simple, but it was shaking the foundations of galactic civilization. People of the galaxy, he said, for too long you have been told that progress comes from following orders, that safety comes from giving up freedom, that peace comes from surrendering your dreams. His image appeared on screens throughout thousands of star systems. We humans offer you a different path. We offer cooperation instead of domination, growth instead of stagnation, the chance to become everything you were meant to be. The broadcast was illegal under council law, but across the galaxy people were watching anyway. We don't seek to rule you, Ruwan continued. We don't want your tribute or your obedience. We want your partnership. We want to learn from you, and we want to teach you what we've learned. Join us and discover what you can become when you're truly free. As the broadcast ended, Councillor Thexmara looked around the chamber at her fellow rulers. For the first time in millennia, she saw doubt in their eyes. The humans had done more than defeat a fleet. They had shown the galaxy a different way to live, and once people saw that different way, it was impossible to make them forget it. 6 months had passed since the Battle of Mars, and the galaxy would never be the same again. Admiral Li Huan stood in the observation deck of the new space station Harmony, watching ships from dozens of different species working together to build something unprecedented. The Free Alliance now has 47 member species, reported Commander Park Yuna. 3 more requested membership just this morning. Li Huan smiled as he watched an avian construction crew working alongside human engineers. The bird-like aliens were using their restored flight technology to install equipment in zero gravity, while the humans provided technical support and creative problem-solving. Any word from the council? He asked. They're still meeting, Park. Yuna said, it's been going on for 3 days now. Some sources say they're arguing about whether to fight us or join us. The Free Alliance had been Li Huan's idea, but it had grown far beyond anything he had imagined. Instead of the council's rigid hierarchy, the alliance was based on voluntary cooperation. Every species contributed what they did best, and everyone shared in the benefits. On the planet below, Engineer Kim Sol was working with a team that would have been impossible under the old system. Humans, avians, cetaceans, and even some former council species were collaborating on projects that combined their different strengths. The quantum bio-hybrid computers are working perfectly, reported Dr. Yun Min, one of the human scientists. The cetacean neural networks, combined with human adaptive programming and avian parallel processing, are creating processing power we never dreamed possible. Kim Sol looked at the readouts with amazement. These computers are actually learning faster than we can teach them. That's because they're not following rigid programming, explained Tidesinger Velenas, one of the cetacean partners. They're growing like living minds, but with the speed of machines. This was what the Alliance was all about. Not one species dominating others, but everyone working together to achieve things none of them could do alone. In another part of the station, Dr. Cho Mina was teaching quantum physics to a mixed class of beings from 12 different worlds. Each species understood the concepts differently, and their different perspectives were leading to breakthroughs that amazed even her. The Sorex students think in terms of energy patterns, she explained to her human assistant. The avians understand Wave motion naturally. The cetaceans perceive quantum fields as something like ocean currents. When they work together, they see solutions I never would have found. Meanwhile, on Council Station Nexus Prime, the emergency session had finally reached a conclusion. The 12 members sat in their ancient chairs, but the chamber felt smaller. Now, less important. The vote is decided, announced Councillor Vexmara. 7 votes for negotiation with the humans. 5 votes for continued resistance. Admiral Vextal, who had become an unexpected advocate for change, stood up. I volunteer to lead the negotiation team. You? Asked Molten Heart Krasder. You. Want to surrender to primitives? I want to learn from them, Vextal said firmly. I fought against humans. I've seen what they can do. They're not primitives. They're something we never imagined possible. Councillor Vashkri of the Sorek had become the leader of the faction favoring cooperation. Admiral Vextal has seen human capabilities firsthand. If anyone can negotiate a fair agreement, it's him. Root Singer Velmuth creaked thoughtfully. What makes you think the humans will negotiate with us at all? We tried to subjugate them. Because, Vextal said, they're not like us? They don't think in terms of dominance and submission. They think in terms of cooperation and growth. The negotiations took place on the neutral world of Haven, a planet that had declared independence from the Council but hadn't yet joined the Alliance. Liahuan led the human delegation, while Vextal represented what remained of the Council. We come not as conquerors seeking terms, Vextal said as the talks began, but as students seeking wisdom. Liahuan was surprised by the aliens. Humility. What kind of wisdom? How to be free, Vextal said simply. For millennia, we believed that order required control. That peace required submission. You've shown us a different way. Captain Song Mi, who had become the Alliance's chief diplomat, leaned forward. What are you asking for? Partnership. Vextal said, not dominance, not submission. True partnership, where all species contribute and all species benefit. Over the next several days, they worked out the details of a new galactic government. The Council of 12 would be dissolved. In its place would be the Galactic Assembly, where every species had a voice and decisions were made by consensus, rather than decree. But what about species that refuse to join? Asked Dr. Park Yuna. What about those who still believe in the old ways? They have the right to govern themselves, Li Huan said. As long as they don't try to force their ways on others, they can live however they choose. This was perhaps the most radical idea of all. Under the old council system, everyone had to follow the same rules, use the same approved technologies, think the same approved thoughts. The new system would allow for diversity, even disagreement. Diversity is strength, Song Mi explained to the mixed group of negotiators. When different species approach the same problem in different ways, they find better solutions than any one species could find alone. 6 months later, the transformation was complete. Admiral Vextal, now working as a special advisor to the Alliance, stood beside Li Hawan as they watched the first meeting of the Galactic Assembly. Do you ever regret it? Li Ha asked. Giving up the power the Council had? How can I regret? Gaining something better? Vextal replied. Under the Council, we had power over others. In the Alliance, we have power with others. The difference is ... everything. The assembly chamber was filled with representatives from over 100 species. They were debating, arguing, proposing new ideas, and solving problems together. It was messy and loud and chaotic. It was also alive in a way the council chamber never had been. Dr. Park Yuna, now director of the Galactic Research Consortium, was presenting the latest achievements of interspecies cooperation. The bioquantum computers are exceeding all projections. The adaptive space drives are allowing us to explore regions we never thought reachable. And the consciousness-sharing networks are helping species understand each other in ways we never imagined. Most importantly, she continued, we're learning that intelligence isn't about being the best at one thing. It's about being able to combine many different approaches to solve complex problems. Li Wan looked around the chamber at beings he once would have considered impossible allies. Former council species working with former victims. Aquatic creatures. Cooperating with flying ones. Ancient civilizations learning from young ones. You know what the best part is? He said to Vextal. What? We're all still learning. Every day, someone discovers something new. Someone finds a better way to do something. Someone makes a connection no one thought of before. Vextal's 4 eyes focused on him. Under the council, we spent thousands of years maintaining the same systems, following the same rules, thinking the same thoughts. We called it stability. And now? Now I understand the difference between stability and stagnation. In the months that followed, the galaxy bloomed with innovation. Species that had been held back for millennia suddenly burst forth with new ideas. New technologies, new art, and new ways of thinking. The avians developed spacecraft that flew like flocks of birds, able to coordinate perfectly without central control. The cetaceans created underwater cities that could move like schools of fish. The humans contributed their gift for creative problem-solving and adaptation, but the greatest discovery was what they could accomplish together on the anniversary of first contact. Leah Wan stood once again on the observation deck of Harmony Station. The station had grown into a small city with beings from across the galaxy living and working together. Do you think we did the right thing? Asked Park Yuna, joining him at the window. Look out there, Li Wan said, gesturing to the bustling activity around the station. Do you see any suffering? Any oppression? Any stagnation? I see chaos, she said with a smile. Beautiful, creative, productive chaos. Exactly. The council thought order meant control. They thought peace meant silence. They thought progress meant doing the same thing over and over until you perfected it. And they were wrong? They were wrong about everything, Li Huan said. True order comes from cooperation, not control. True peace comes from understanding, not fear, and true progress comes from trying new things, not perfecting old ones. He looked out at the galaxy that humans had helped to transform. It was messier than the old system. It was louder. It was more complicated. It was also more alive, more creative, and more hopeful than it had ever been. The council thought they knew what civilization looked like, he said. They thought they knew what progress meant. They thought they knew everything about how intelligent species should interact. But they were wrong. They were wrong about all of it. And now, for the first time in thousands of years, the galaxy is free to discover what it can really become. As he spoke, a new ship appeared in the distance. It was unlike anything that had existed before, a hybrid design that combined technologies from dozens of different species. It was beautiful, efficient, and completely unique.